A flickering gas lamp illuminates a grainy photograph tacked to a stone wall. The black and white image shows a woman's face, unremarkable, easily lost in a crowd. Below it, stark German text offers a reward. In a smoke-filled office in Lyon, a Gestapo officer slams his fist on a mahogany desk, scattering papers. His name is Klaus Barbie, and his face is a mask of frustrated rage. He points a trembling finger at the wanted poster. For months, his men have been chasing a ghost, an agent they know only by a description and a growing legend. They call her La Dame Caboite, the Limping Lady. He snarls that she is the most dangerous of all Allied spies, and he wants her found. The year is 1942. The iron fist of the Third Reich crushes the European continent. Swastika banners hang limp from the elegant buildings of Paris. Jackboots echo on cobblestone streets. Fear is a constant, a metallic taste in the air. Into this heart of darkness steps a figure, a shadow moving against the grain. A woman descends from a train in Lyon, her face plain, her clothes simple. She carries a worn suitcase. As she walks, there is a slight, almost imperceptible hesitation in her gait. A limp. This is Virginia Hall, an American civilian. Years earlier, a hunting rifle discharged by accident, tearing through her left leg. A doctor saw amputated the limb below the knee. The U.S. State Department had looked at her file, at her sharp mind and fluency in 4 languages, and then at the wooden prosthesis she wore. They saw a liability, a woman unfit for the diplomatic corps. Virginia saw a door slammed shut. But where her own country saw weakness, a new, desperate war saw an opportunity. She had a new leg now, a clunky prosthetic made of painted wood and aluminum. It was heavy, it was clumsy, and it often ached. She gave it a name, Cuthbert. Now in the occupied territory of France, Cuthbert is her passport into the shadows. Virginia moves through a crowded marketplace, the smell of cheese and fear thick in the air. A German patrol passes, their eyes sweeping over the civilians. They look right past the woman with the cane, the one who leans just a little too heavily on one side. No one suspects a cripple. No one imagines the woman with the limp is the master coordinator for a web of spies and saboteurs, a vital artery pumping lifeblood from London into the heart of the French resistance. Her work begins in whispers. In the back room of a dimly lit bistro, steam rising from a bowl of soup, she passes a folded note to a farmer whose hands are calloused from work, not war. Her eyes are calm, but they miss nothing, scanning the entrance, listening to the cadence of every conversation. In a drafty attic, surrounded by the ghosts of stored furniture, she hunches over a crackling radio set. Her fingers, nimble and sure, tap out a stream of Morse code. The faint signal travels through the dark, over the English Channel, a lifeline of intelligence. Outside, the engine of a German truck rumbles past, its headlights cutting a brief, terrifying swath of light across the grimy window. Virginia doesn't flinch. She just keeps tapping. The night is starless over a remote field in central France. A handful of figures huddle in the darkness, their breath misting in the cold air. They stare up at the black sky, waiting. Virginia stands among them, a silhouette against the tree-line. A low drone grows in the distance. It's a British Halifax bomber, flying dangerously low. Suddenly, dark shapes blossom against the clouds. Parachutes. Crates filled with weapons and explosives drift silently to the earth. Men rush forward, dragging the heavy containers into the woods. The canvas is rough, the steel of the Sten guns cold to the touch. Virginia directs them with quiet authority, her voice a low command in the rustling night. Days later, in a hidden barn smelling of hay and damp earth, she teaches these same men. She shows a young baker how to prime a plastic explosive, her hand steady as she molds the putty-like substance. She adjusts the grip of a nervous teenager holding a pistol for the first time. She moves among them, her limp more pronounced on the uneven ground, but her resolve is a physical force. She is not just a coordinator, she is a trainer, a leader, turning farmers and students into a guerrilla army. They learn to derail trains, to sabotage factories, to become thorns in the side of the German war machine. The results are felt across the region. A supply train bound for the Eastern Front lies twisted and burning in a ravine. A factory producing tank parts is silenced by a single, well-placed charge. The Gestapo's fury grows. The posters of the Limping Lady multiply, their paper turning yellow and peeling on city walls. The reward money climbs. The hunt intensifies. Doors are kicked in at midnight. Suspects are dragged into the cold basements of Gestapo headquarters. The name Virginia Hall is unknown to them, but the legend of the woman with the wooden leg is whispered in every cell. Virginia is forced to change her identity constantly. One week, she is a stooped, elderly woman in a black shawl, shuffling through a village market. The next, a ruddy-cheeked milkmaid, her hair tied up in a kerchief, pushing a cart along a country road. Cuthbert is always there, a dull, aching companion. The leather straps chafe her skin raw. The wood knocks and clicks, a sound she fears will give her away. Every step is a calculation of pain and risk. She sleeps in barns, in cellars, in the attics of brave families who know that harboring her is a death sentence. Her face grows thinner, her eyes etched with the strain of constant vigilance. The net finally closes in November 1942. The German army invades the rest of France. The escape routes are sealed. Her network is compromised, betrayed by an informant. Her face is now known. Her time has run out. Her only path to freedom is a brutal one, a 50-mile trek on foot over the snow-choked passes of the Pyrenees Mountains into neutral Spain. In the dead of winter, the journey begins. The wind is a razor, slicing through her thin coat. Snow falls in a blinding, relentless curtain. The path is a ghost, buried under deep drifts. Each step is an agony. The mountain is a white, indifferent giant. Her guide, a hardened local, looks at her and her leg with open doubt. Other refugees, younger and able-bodied, struggle beside her. For Virginia, every foot of elevation is a battle. Cuthbert, her secret weapon in the city, is now an anchor of pure misery. The prosthetic is not made for this. It fills with snow, freezing the stump of her leg. It offers no grip on the icy rocks. It chafes and rubs until her skin is bleeding. She falls again and again, the impact jarring her to the bone. She drags herself up, her face a mask of grim determination, her knuckles raw and bloody from clawing at the frozen ground. In a moment of desperation, she uses her radio one last time, sending a message to London. "Cuthbert," she signals, "is giving me trouble." The reply comes back across the static, a voice in a warm office, hundreds of miles away, oblivious to her reality. "If Cuthbert is giving you trouble, have him eliminated." She is utterly alone, but she does not stop. She puts one foot in front of the other. The pain is a white-hot fire, but the thought of the Gestapo behind her is a colder fear. Her world shrinks to the next step, and the next. The crunch of snow, the searing of the wind, the burning in her lungs. After 3 days of brutal, relentless effort, she stumbles over the border into Spain. She is frostbitten, emaciated, and utterly exhausted, but she is free. Her war, however, was not over. After a brief imprisonment in Spain, she made her way back to London. The British, believing her cover was permanently blown, refused to send her back. So she joined the newly formed American spy agency, the OSS. They recognized the unbreakable will in her eyes. Disguised as an old farm woman, she returned to France ahead of the D-Day landings. She armed and trained 3 battalions of French resistance fighters. She mapped drop zones, reported on German troop movements, and waged a guerrilla war, her fighters destroying bridges and communication lines, tying up thousands of German soldiers who were desperately needed to fight the Allied invasion. When the war ended, the legacy of the Limping lady was etched into the history of liberated France. The German reports were clear. The intelligence she gathered, the sabotage she directed, the fighters she trained, it all confirmed Klaus Barbie's furious assessment. She was, without question, one of the most effective, most courageous, and most dangerous Allied spies of the Second World War. A woman defined not by the leg she had lost, but by the relentless, indomitable spirit that drove her forward over every obstacle and through the very heart of the enemy's darkness. Tell me your favorite war story. I should talk about next. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.